our final company for the day is Western Yilgarn. Western Yilgarn's ASX code is WYX. The company has a market cap of approximately $5 million. Western Yilgarn has a strong focus on green metals. The company is hopeful of advancing their highly prospective land holdings in an emerging premier nickel and platinum group elements jurisdiction. Presenting today from the company is General Manager Gavin Rutherford. Gavin, I notice you've got a colleague there with you, so I might let you introduce your colleague and please take it away.
Hi, Manny. Thanks very much for having us back today. It's good to be back. Yes, sticking with my mantra of being the less intelligent person in the room. My brains trust is Bo Nichols, who you've met before. Bo's our technical advisor and geologist with an excellent pedigree, and he's the guy that can keep me honest on things when it comes to the technical questions. So what I'd like to do is go through this fairly expeditiously. Don't want to get too involved in the super technicalities of this unless questions at the end dictate it, and I'd like to leave some room at the end for questions. We floated in May 2022, so we're nearly 2 years old. And if Adrian could take us just to the second page, there's the disclaimer, folks, the standard disclaimer. To the third page, please, Adrian. So we've just got under 92 million shares on issue. We're a very tightly held company. That can be your best friend or your worst enemy, but we prefer to think that leaves us in a very, very good position for potential investors that want to look at a company that's not going to be diluted very quickly at all. We floated with 6 projects on the books. We've worked for the last couple of years to get to a stage where we've got 3 projects, and the most advanced of those is the Ida Holmes Junction, which was originally known as the Bulga project, southwest of Leinster. Started off as about 154 kilometres of exploration tenements, but very, very quickly, through the expertise of Bo's efforts with auger geochemistry, we have been able to take that out to about 477 square kilometres. At which stage we then were able to meet a company named Fleet Street, who had some more tenements running out along the Holmes Dyke. And I'd like, Adrian, if you could take us to the next page. Thank you. If the viewers are able to have a look at the drawing quite carefully there and take a screenshot of it or whatever you like, you'll notice that we've got some august neighbours. So that area is unexplored. We've got Rio Tinto bookending each end of our project, and they've turned up after us. And we have renamed the project the Ida Holmes Junction because the Ida Fault travels through the Holmes Dyke. So the north-south Ida Fault has come through the Holmes Dyke, which travels from northwest to southeast. And it's the same magma as the BHP's Babel Nebo project on that Holmes Dyke. So we've put nearly 4,000 holes, or probably just over 4,000 holes into the ground out there, which are auger geochemistry. It's important for viewers to understand that the geology out there is such that there's a lot of transported cover because of floodwaters coming in and out over the millions of years. So we need to get through soil that's been bored in and out to where we can get an honest representation of what's below. Bo, is there anything you'd like to add about that?
Yeah. So the Holmes Dyke is a gabbro, and that is the same age, same magma that is West Musgrave, which is a copper. It's a very large copper nickel project with BHP's developing, and so what happens is you can get a layered intrusions coming off this. So you've got a dike, and then you can get a flat sill coming off that, and that's the geological setting for this. And this has never been explored in the past. So yeah, I think if you flick to the next
and it's an excellent point because it's never been explored out there. We are the pioneering explorers. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. Carry on.
Yeah. So when we looked at this on the GeoView on the WYX data, it was all logged as as granites, and it's clearly not granites, because when we got down to the data, we actually found some historical holes that were drilled by BHP. You can see in the middle there those highlights in the image there, of which they have drilled into. I think the result there is 45 meters at 0.5% nickel, with also cobalt and up to 0.9 nickel. That's drilled into what we consider a lateritic nickel. It's all below surface, so we can't see this, but it's definitely not granite. Yeah, so that means you've got an ultramafic underneath. So we've gone through systematically, used auger geochem, because that gets below the red sand on top, which doesn't show anything, and we've taken samples below that. That gives you the flexibility, the auger, to go down 1 meter, 2 meters, 10 meters, depending what's on surface. And we've started on really wide, 1,600 meters, moved it down to 800, 400, to a point where we're at now where we've got to 200 by 100. And we've got a couple of very exciting nickel, copper, and PGE targets that correspond with all the elements, which suggests you've got nickel sulfide. And we also do have the blue images you can see there. They're what we're considering LCT pegmatites, which is lithium, cesium, tantalum. The one to the east is directly along strike of TechGen, who just started RC drilling a LCT pegmatite. They've got an outcropping on surface where they are. That is around 4 kilometres south east of us.
Yeah. So we're very fortunate. I suppose it's a fortunate coincidence that TechGen have made some great announcements, and they've sort of attached themselves to the end of our lease, and they're using the same geochemist and the same assay lab as us. So we're able to sort of see some comparative representations of results. Importantly, we've got those targets that extend into leases of ours that have only just been granted. So now we're moving into those leases, and the team is mobilised right now, looking to further prosecute the copper and nickel target. The important part about that is that if we're looking at a repeat of the BHP magma, which I think we are, or we think we are, it's actually copper nickel, not nickel copper. And we've got over $1 million earmarked to spend on exploration with board approval. We're going to be going out to do airborne electromagnetic, and that'll be followed by some RC drilling to take this further.
Yeah,
next slide.
Next slide. Just quickly on that shows the more regional. You can see the Ida fault with the green Holmes Dyke product cutting across, so you get an intersection, and that's geologically that's usually a good spot to go. You also can see that you've got it's the lithium highway, where you've got the Mount Ida lithium project to the south, and then up to the north you've got Liontown
and Kathleen Valley,
which Gina Reinhardt's been spending lots of money on. So I think we're running out of time.
So we're running out of time. We'll move on to the next page for our second project, which is Julimar West, which we'll spend some time on very quickly. 350 square kilometres or thereabouts granted. We are about 2,500 metres or less from the epicentre of Chalice's Gonneville intrusion. We believe we've got some more compelling prospectivity than that, based on Geoscience WA grab samples that have told us that there's not only tantalum and tin, but we've also been up there and had a look at pegmatites sticking out of the ground. This is only 70 kilometres from Perth, and we are a neighbour of Chalice, and Chalice is very much moving and shaking along in that area. Anything to add, Bo?
Next slide. So that's the Gonneville, that's Chalice's project. It dips down, and you can see that it would go down into the Western Yilgarn's ground at depth. It's not a high priority because it's too deep for us to consider. If you go to the next slide, this is more interesting for us. So of that sort of 50 kilometres of strike, there's been 2 grab samples ever taken. This is 70k out of Perth, which is pretty much summarises the Chalice discovery. So Gavin and I, one day we went out and had a look at those. Went out to find where the GSWA, which is Geoscience Western Australia, took samples, and there was pegmatites all over the surface, and there's a photo of Gavin in the corner there standing next to it.
Yeah, good looking fella.
Those numbers are very, very good. There's a percent tin, tantalum up there around 1%. And if you know Green Bushes to the south of us in Perth, very similar. It started out as a tin mine, and it's now the highest grade lithium mine in the world. So I think let's click to the next one.
Next slide. So the Boudinot project is just south of Mount Magnet by about 90 kilometres. Got 20 seconds to run here. We've just picked up another lease that's been granted, which is on the northeast end of the Boudinot project. And next slide, Adrian.
There it is. Yeah, no, so that's it. You can see, that's not the updated.
No, that's not the updated one.
But we have defined some LCTs there. That was our initial focus. And if you look at one of the last releases, you'll see that we have defined some gold targets up in the north, in the newly granted lease to the north. And that actually runs into a prospecting permit. And yeah, we're about to go back onto that, which is fairly good timing with the gold price.
Yeah, it's an excellent time, and there's some very, very strong sniffs of gold there. You can be assured of that when you know there's a nugget field there. So our primary project is the Idaho's Junction, over 600 kilometres, that we're looking at on three fronts, three types of geology, which is the Ida Fault, plus the Holmes Dyke, plus where they meet each other, and the maelstrom there that always makes up some mineralogy of interest. So please go to our website and look at the presentation. We're very easy people to get hold of, and that's about it. Manny, thank you.
Gavin, thank you. Okay, couple of quick questions before we go. You did talk about some of your neighbours, obviously some big names there, and you also talked about your being granted recently your Yilgarn West exploration licence. Taking your neighbours into consideration, the fact that you've recently been granted that licence, as I understand it, you were not the only company to put an application in. So who else wanted that land, just out of curiosity?
Oh, yeah, okay. When you've got an application in for an exploration lease, there are other companies, or there's the accommodation there for other entities to also have applications in for the same country, and it cascades. So we actually had Chalice that had an application in for our Yilgarn West lease that was granted to us, and also Caspen Resources. And if you have a look at the credentials of both of those companies, I think it's fairly obvious that we're sitting on something pretty good with the Yilgarn West project.
Certainly sounds that way. All right. Now, you've recently had some weather issues. I think there's been a bit of rain. Is that right?
Yeah, and we've taken we took the team off for about a week just because it becomes a little bit hard to navigate around the area. So we like to keep our shareholders apprised of what's going on. The important thing about that, Manny, is that it's proof that we're on country that gets the soil carried in and out by flood events, and so it's a great little proof source for us. But it's exactly why we're doing auger geochemistry out there, where the auger on the rig gets straight down through below anything that could have been carried in and out by through the millions of years, to where we can get soil that's an honest representation of what's below. And we've got published information, a good suite of published information now, and 24 targets is the proof, mate.
Okay, and obviously we have had that weather event, but you're ready to go now, right? So
team's mobilised again, and it's all happening up there now.
All right, great. And before you go, what's the news flow that we should be looking for from you guys over the next, say, 3 to 6 months? So are we looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to see a lot of news coming out of the Idaho's Junction auger geochem, but also we've announced and budgeted for airborne electromagnetic, and we're in some very, very strong nickel country, You know, everyone today on the podcast has said, you know, the market's hard, and it is, but we're looking for things that are going to be mined and sold in 10 years. We're out looking for nickel elephants. We want to get out and find copper and nickel elephants sulfide wise. So I think we'll be announcing certainly the results from our airborne electromagnetic, and as soon as we see any red blobs, as Bo calls them, we'll go and stick the drill rig into that and obviously announce that as well.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for your time today. That was fantastic to the both of you. You know, please come back and let us know how you progress with that. So we're keen to hear what the results are going to be. So until that time, thank you again, and have a great weekend.
You too. We'll stay excited. Bye.
Thanks, Manny.
All right, thank you, guys.